All right, let's get right into it. We hear about Earth's big extinctions all the time, right? But what if they aren't just these random freak accidents? What if they're actually a story? A story about how our entire planet can, well, break. So today we're going to investigate these massive catastrophes, but not as just a list of names to memorize. We're going to look at them as a series of system failures.
And yeah, that's pretty much our mission for this whole explainer. Think of it like this. We're going to treat these ancient events almost like black box recordings from a planetary crash. If we can figure out what went wrong back then, maybe we can start to understand the really big rules, the fundamental rules that govern life on this kind of massive scale.
Okay, so to kick off our investigation, we really need to nail down two things. First off, what even is a mass extinction? Like, what makes it different from the usual stuff? And second, what in the world is powerful enough to bring an entire planet's ecosystem to its knees? That's the real question.
And it really all comes down to scale. I mean, look, species go extinct all the time. That's just the background hum of evolution. It's always happening. But a mass extinction? Whoa, that is something else entirely. It's not a local problem, it's a global one. It's not a slow, gradual process. It happens shockingly fast, geologically speaking. We're talking about a full system, planetary scale collapse of life.
And that right there, that's the big mystery we're chasing. This isn't about what kills one specific dinosaur or one little trilobite. No, this is about finding the trigger. What can push the first domino that leads to a cascade of failure, unraveling everything, everywhere, all at once?
See, it's not really about the specific weapon, you know? The thing that matters most is when the planet's life support systems start to fail. When the climate shifts way too fast for anything to adapt, when the oceans literally can't breathe anymore, when the very bottom of the food web just crumbles, that's when you get a mass extinction. It is a total systems problem.
All right, so now that we've got our framework, our way of thinking about this, let's do it. Let's open the case files on Earth's 5 biggest system failures. These are the moments when the planet was pushed right past its breaking point.
And here they are, the Big 5. We're talking about a timeline that spans almost 400 million years of history. It starts way back with the End-Ordovician event, 444 million years ago, and goes all the way up to the one everyone knows, the asteroid impact 66 million years ago. Now, each one is its own unique story, with a different trigger, but, as you're about to see, they share some, well, disturbingly similar patterns of collapse.
So, case file number 1, the End-Ordovician. Back then, pretty much all the cool, complex life was hanging out in the shallow seas. The system failure here? A sudden, sharp cooling of the planet. All this ice expanded, locking up huge amounts of water. The result? Sea levels just plummeted, and all those shallow marine habitats, poof, they were just gone. A really classic case of the climate going haywire and destroying where everything lived.
Okay, next up, the Late Devonian. This one was less of a sudden shock and more like a long, slow sickness for the planet. The problem this time was the ocean's chemistry. You see, there was this massive flood of nutrients into the water, maybe from all the new plants evolving on land. This caused these gigantic algae blooms, but when all that algae died and started to decay, it just sucked all the oxygen out of the water, creating these huge dead zones that suffocated marine life, especially the amazing reef systems they had back then.
And now we get to the Great Dying. Seriously, this was it. This was the closest life on our planet has ever come to just being wiped out completely. The trigger? Volcanoes. But on a scale that is just mind-boggling. The Siberian traps erupted, spewing insane amounts of greenhouse gases into the air, and that just kicked off the most devastating chain reaction you can imagine. Runaway global warming, the oceans turning acidic, oxygen levels collapsing. It wasn't one problem. It was everything, everywhere, all at once. A complete and total system failure.
All right, our 4th case, the End-Triassic. And guess what? Massive volcanism is back as our main culprit. This time it happened as the supercontinent Pangaea was starting to rip apart, literally opening up the Atlantic Ocean. And as it split, boom, another round of colossal eruptions, pumping the air full of CO2. The results probably sound familiar by now. Rapid warming and acidic oceans. It was awful for most life, but there was a twist. This event cleared the board, in a way, which paved the way for the dinosaurs to take over.
And that brings us to the last one, the one everybody knows about, the big asteroid. But here's the thing that's so crucial to understand. The real killer wasn't the initial blast. It was what happened after. The impact threw so much dust and junk into the atmosphere that it basically created a blanket around the Earth, blocking out the sun. No sunlight means no photosynthesis. Plants die, plankton in the ocean dies, and the entire global food web just collapses from the very bottom all the way to the top.
Okay, so we've gone through all 5 case files. We've seen an ice age, sick oceans, insane volcanic eruptions, an asteroid strike. The triggers all seem totally different, right? So what's the connection? What's the hidden pattern that ties all of these catastrophes together?
And this table just lays it out perfectly. Take a look at that column on the right. Forget the triggers for a second. The cooling, the volcanoes, the asteroid. Look at the results. They're almost the same every time. You see the same core systems failing over and over and over again. The climate goes nuts, the ocean chemistry gets wrecked, and the food web collapses.
So here it is, the big takeaway. The real killer isn't the specific event. It's the speed of the change. Life on Earth is incredibly tough. It's resilient. But it has an Achilles heel: rapid, global environmental change. When things change faster than evolution can keep up, faster than species can adapt, the whole system just breaks.
And that brings us to our final part, and honestly, the most profound lesson we can take from this whole pattern of collapse. What is the ultimate warning that these 5 ancient disasters are trying to tell us?
And this idea it reframes everything. Mass extinctions aren't really about actively killing things one by one. It's more of a passive thing. It's about breaking the environment, destroying the stable conditions, the reliable chemistry, the flow of energy that makes complex life even possible. It's like when the stage itself collapses, all the actors fall with it.
And if you had to boil this entire story down into one sentence, this is it. These 5 events were moments when rapid global change just completely overwhelmed Earth's ecosystems, causing the entire system of life to collapse. It's less about the meteor itself and more about the tipping point it created.
So in the end, each of these 5 apocalypses, they were more than just an ending. They're a warning, literally written into the rock of our planet. A warning about just how fragile the stable world we rely on can be. 5 separate times, the board was wiped almost completely clean. And so the question that echoes from these ancient events to us right now is a simple one. Are we listening?